Hey everybody, Merry Christmas. Um, so for today's video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about my personal top five favorite Christmas movies. And this excludes holiday specials and it also excludes, like for example, I like Charlie Brown Christmas and I like all that kind of stuff, but those are TV specials. They're not really movies. So just gonna in this video I'm gonna talk about my top five favorite Christmas movies, like feature length films. And keep in mind these are personal picks. Some people are gonna be like, that's your top five, but it's personal opinion. So at number five, I'm gonna start with Jingle All the Way with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Um, this film is definitely along the line of like a camp classic Christmas movie because it's pretty much Arnold Schwarzenegger's this businessman, and he's looking for a kid for his toy called Turbo Man, and it's really hard to find. Like he does it the last minute, his Christmas shopping, and he can't find it on Christmas Eve, and so it's all about this man trying to figure out how he can get this perfect toy for his kid on Christmas Day, and it's in the style of an Arnold Schwarzenegger comedy slash action film in certain scenes. So Jingle All the Way is a great movie. I watched every Christmas. It's a great camp classic Christmas movie. Um, at number four, we got How the Grinch Stole Christmas. And I actually kind of prefer the Jim Carrey version. And like I said, because we're excluding holiday specials, I'm going with the feature length version of the Grinch. Um, but I actually really did like this one. I liked it as a kid, and I like it as an adult, and I thought Jim Carrey was a great Grinch. I thought what I really like about this is I like how they kept the original Dr. Seuss story, and they were able to expand it in a good way. They were able to expand it, and by the end of the day, you can still say to yourself, they stayed true to the Grinch, and so yeah, I just really like this film. I think Jim Carrey really did a good job, and um, this is my number four pick. My number three pick is actually a sequel, and it's a sequel to one of my, what you'll see here in a minute, one of my favorite Christmas movies. So here we got Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. And by the way, pretty sure I've reviewed most of these already. I just really wanted to do a Christmas video this year for Christmas. Um, so anyway, Home Alone 2. It's the sequel to the big blockbuster Home Alone from 2 years before it. So I believe this was 1992. So yeah, Home Alone 1 was 1990. So in this installment, Kevin finds himself in the airport with his parents this time, but he gets on the wrong flight by accident. And he's in New York and they're in Florida. And while he's in New York, he encounters Harry and Marv from the previous film. And he also has to protect a toy store from getting stolen by Harry and Marv. He has to avoid credit card fraud at the hotel. He runs into a bunch of stuff in this one. And so, in a way, he is kind of, I guess, a more appropriate title would be like Left on Your Own or something like that. But they said it's a Home Alone sequel. Let's just call it Home Alone 2. So it's he's not really home alone, but he's by himself in a big city. So um, they kind of got the title right, I guess. So Home Alone 2, guys, is my number three pick. Home Alone 1, based on Home Alone 2, there is my number two pick. There's just something special about this film. And I think because this is more along the line of a little kids, everybody's young, first time alone by themselves at their house. Like how it kind of focuses on how scary that would be, kind of the comedic aspect of that. Um, just John Hughes did a terrific job writing the script for this, and Chris Columbus did a great job directing this film. Um, John Hughes was also producer for this, and they both did the same thing for Home Alone 2. Um, so Home Alone 1, guys, it's my number two pick. I watch this every year. I'm just a huge John Hughes fan, and is just a great Christmas slash comedy slash John Hughes slash Macaulay Culkin. There's a whole list of things that makes this film so epic. And so yeah, I just watch it every year for Christmas. So that's my number two pick. And then at number one, and I'm sure this is probably most people's number one pick for Christmas movies, is A Christmas Story. And I did review this one last year for sure. I know I reviewed this one. Same hat and everything. Um, so A Christmas Story, guys, you should have seen this by now if none of you have ever seen this. It's just a great, great Christmas movie. I mean, talk about a film where they were able to find because this was based off a book, and I think it was called In God We Trust, All Others Pay Cash, and it was a book of short stories by what's his name, Gene Shepard. Yeah, Gene Shepard kind of has like these life chronicles in the form of short story, and not only does he talk about Christmas in the book, but he talks about like his dad's experience with a bad furnace, and they were able to incorporate it into the film quite well. And even though not every short story in that book was incorporated into the film, I thought they did it. They adapted the Christmas Story portion of Gene Shepard's book with the addition of some of his other stories, and I thought they were able to balance it quite well. Um, Peter Billingsley was one of the executive producers for Iron Man, so that's kind of a little trivia question about him. So that's kind of some things that he did in his later years. He also directed the film Couples Retreat. I wasn't too big on that movie, but I know he directed that. Um, we had Melinda Dillon, who was in I think a Barbra Streisand movie or a couple of other stuff. Darren McGavin, who was in a lot of famous old TV shows. He was in Billy Madison, for those who've seen that. Um, and Zach Ward, who played Scott Farkus in this, he actually was in a couple of other stuff. He was in Freddy vs. Jason as one of the victim's brothers. And this film was actually really, really bad. In fact, do not see this movie, but he was in the Yugo film Postal, and so it's one of those things where we've seen him throughout the years, but he hasn't necessarily become bigger. We've seen him more often. Um, so there you go, guys. That's my top five uh, Christmas picks. So here they are again: 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I hope you guys have a great Christmas. I just wanted to make a quick video about all of this. And I hope all of you have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.